Welcome back to the second part of our Security TechCast. In part 1 we already uncovered why security must be designed into every critical system, from aircraft and trains to medical devices and beyond. In this episode we take a look into the world where operating systems, toolchains and cryptographic frameworks form an ecosystem of defense. Still with me is Bruno, and we have already talked about PikeOS, but it's not the only product that you take care of, right?
Yeah, actually, I'm responsible of the product security. It means all the products we provide. So, and Elinos will run on PikeOS. So for me, it's only one product. I talk a lot about PikeOS because this is the core of our activity, but Elinos is obviously also integrated. And I will even go further because we are also providing some ID, some development environment. And I take everything into consideration when building the security property of the system. Every component, so not just PikeOS, but everything what's around it. And LinOS is in itself it's a huge part. It's an OS in itself. So, but yeah, still I have to consider everything what's delivered to the customers, not only the kernel. The security processes I'm putting in place will really integrate any development in the company. So from the kernel to LinOS, it's obviously a part of it. It's a bit different because there will be some open source reuse. So the scope is a bit different, but the hardening part of this product, there is still the same security principle that applies. And same for the Codeo development environment we provide with everything, and even the tools used to compile the product at customer side. So it's a whole ecosystem of applications that must be secured because the threat can come from anywhere around the product. And that's really what we mean by security throughout the whole life cycle. Also, it's that we have to take into consideration everything that will be used, all the toolings, everything to produce those products. And so, the scope is really, really large, I would say.
For those who don't know Elinos, it's our powerful embedded Linux, secure, reliable and easy to set up, with a built-in wizard that speeds up development time for embedded systems.
Just to go a little further on this one, let's say malware could be put in what we call today the supply chains attack, where you have some compromise in a component that you reuse in another product. And this is typically the things we are looking for, specifically for LinOS and for Codeo also, because it's based on the framework, well-known framework. And there could be some supply chain attack coming through those kind of huge projects. This is new kind of attacks we are looking at. There were some examples last year on very specific libraries, but it shaped the whole cybersecurity world. Let's remain aware of what can happen outside of our own developments.
Since you have mentioned Codeo, our integrated development environment, what do you think about this tool?
It's a pretty complete system. It's full of very useful features, and I was really impressed to see that this idea is really crafted to help develop some PikeOS based or LinOS based system. There is so many tools to ease the developments done at our customer side. It's just impressive. It's packed of features to configure the system, to set up project, everything in one click. It's compilation is a world in itself. There is hundreds of different configurations, parameters, options you can have, and Codeo managed this pretty efficiently with some great UI. And no, I've nothing bad to say about Codeo. It just works, and it's efficient, and
Codeo is also available together with our Elinos S3 test version, more on our website. So we have a powerful development tool that strengthens security, making complex configurations simpler and reducing the risk of human errors. But tools alone aren't enough. To truly protect critical systems, we also need something more fundamental: trust at the mathematical level. And that's where the expertise of our partners comes in. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, no, very good point, because for anybody working in the cryptography world, they know that the risk is on the implementation, and this is a very, very difficult things to do to implement correctly cryptographic algorithm. Algorithms are proven secure formally, in themselves. You think AES, everything, there is no flaw in them, but any flaw you will find is the implementation done. And Wolf SSL is very good at implementing this kind of algorithm. Today, yeah, it's good to be able to be supported by some experts on different topics, because there is so much to do. And yeah, using the expertise of those people is also a way to keep our products secure, because going into developing our own cryptographic library, yeah, we should put so much effort and time to get to the level of what Wolf SSL is already doing, that it's just a question of, I would say, time to market. But obviously, we also we are some very regulated market, and it may happen that we will need a sovereign solution also. So yeah, we have different options. It depends on the customer needs, customer requirements, and if we can deliver a good product in partnership with Wolf SSL, yeah, that's okay for us.
Partnerships and other hardware and software alliances show how critical expertise and precision are when it comes to advanced technology. Besides all that high tech, it's also about the people who design, who build, and who maintain it. So having joined our team, what would you recommend to someone starting their journey at Cisco?
Yeah, don't be afraid to deep dive in the technical thing, because yeah, we are doing some pretty advanced technological development here. So you have to stay curious. So to meet everybody, to understand the culture at Cisco, which is very open-minded, and there is so many talent everywhere. So really, you have to know everybody here. And maybe yes, there is a point. You have to brush up on security and safety standards. As we said, our customers are in regulated environment and industries, and the standards are not that easy to read. So yeah, this is something that you have to have in mind, to be able to read those kind of documents. And that's for some very good reason, because as we said, this technology has some real world impact, if it fails or if it compromises. So we have to be rigorous. That's another key word, very, very important in what we make. The failure is not an option, as we say.
What a great final statement. And that brings us to the end of our Security TechCast. We've explored how operating systems, development tools, and supply chain integrity all come together to create security at every level of the product. A huge thank you to Bruno for sharing your insights and telling us more about the world of secure by design systems.
Thanks, Ben. It was really a pleasure to speak with you, and stay safe and secure.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the next level of security by design. Until next time, stay informed, secure, and join us again for more insights on building safe and secure systems that truly matter.